Club Radio. Club Light Radio.
Check it out.
Club Light Radio right now. This is Table Talk. This is DJ Georgia Nicole right now in the house. And we also have Bigfoot Mike with us here today.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to our broadcast.
A long time since you joined me on a broadcast, huh, Mike?
Absolutely. So we're here now, doing big things.
Well, this is a very special day, so we're really glad that we have the chance for both of us to be here on Table Talk because we have a very, very special guest on the line with us. And right now, we just want to bring on Ozay Moore right now. Woo, yeah, excited. Ozay, go ahead and say hi to everybody at Club Light.
What's happening, Club Light? This is Ozay Moore, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. And so I'm telling you, people might not know, but this is a hip-hop legend that we're talking to right now. I mean, he's graced our ears with CDs, cassettes, and everything in the middle. I'm telling you.
Old school.
From the old school. So tell the people a little bit about how they might know you, since they might not know who Ozay Moore is right now.
Well, yeah, I used to go by Othello in my younger days. Yeah, he was 1/3 of Lightheaded. You know, that was with Brown. Yeah. So, yeah, I spent a lot of time on the road, you know, visiting various different cities, seeing some of the old school heads. Now, I guess they'd be considered older school heads, you know. But yeah, so on a lot of seas across the country and overseas, et cetera. But yeah, I've been blessed to be able to, continue on in this and have a platform to share, you know, what's happening with me through my music and what's happening in the world around me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, very blessed. It's cool to be here talking with some folks who know about that time of my life.
That's right.
You know,
we know a lot
and then
about
we can
that
talk
time.
about what's happening now. You know, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is definitely, again, our pleasure. I mean, I'm telling you, one thing I got to tell you from way back when, you knew your voice anywhere on a microphone. Anywhere, any song, anywhere. It's like, here come Othello. And he just come out and he would just like smash it.
All creative and got the rhymes, got the melody.
I'm telling you, you don't know how many times I think we probably broke the Hypnotics album. Absolutely broke it.
Oh, word.
Absolutely
cool.
Broke that album the amount of times we played and killed that album. So I'm telling you.
For those that don't know, that was very jazzy instrumental. You know, he had a live band, the Hypnotics were a jazz band, and Othello did the lyrics to it, and they just collaborated and sounded so beautiful. It was beautiful. Most beautiful thing you've ever heard.
I'm telling you, it was absolutely refreshing at that time, and still refreshing to this day. I think that a lot of people are waning in the creativity area, and so tell us a little bit about your creative process, because everything that you put out is just incredible and uniquely yours.
Wow, I appreciate that. Really, it's everything I do is a direct reflection of where I'm at in life. You know what I'm saying? Like when we did the Hypnotics project. That was originally just going to be a demo. Because I was living in Seattle, I met some cats who had a band. The saxophone player I went to high school with. And we'd always see each other in the halls, but never really knew we made music outside of being in band or in choir or whatever at school. And finally we grow up, and it's like, yeah, man, you play still outside of school? He's like, oh yeah, man, I got this little jazz rig going on, and I got a trio and whatnot. And I was like, man, well, I'm actually, making hip hop music. I would love to collaborate. So long story short, we ended up putting this demo together, and I was a part of Lightheaded, after leaving Logic, it was all good. It was just I was in a different place in life and wanted to get a change of scenery, so I ended up in Lightheaded, and then we were in close fam with the percussions. So the percussions that came.
Oh God!
Colorado.
Yeah.
Do we love the percussions? Is the question? Do we love the percussions?
That's our family. So anyway, the pros, the manager at the time, heard the demo that me and my boys in Seattle had made after I moved up to Florida. He's like, yo, I think Japan would really like this. And so, I'm thinking nothing of it. People always say stuff, like, oh man, I think so and so. Like, I was like, cool, burn this PD and take it to them and let me know what they think, And this actually got caught wind, it actually created a wave for me that I was able to ride for a few years. touring Japan and bringing the band out there. Actually, the tour with the percussion, me, the Hypnotics, the Pros, and we toured all over Japan, played the Blue Note Jazz, venues, and did that a couple times over. So now, I mean, last year I went, and that was probably my 7th time to Japan since then, and that was like 2005. So yeah, it was a real blessed stretch of opportunity that came from that Hypnotics project. But yeah, at that time, that's what I was on, you know. But I've always been a fan of funk, soul, jazz, you know, reggae, you know, R&B, you know what I'm saying, and the list goes on and on and on. So my creative process is really, you know, I try to reflect best where I'm at, you know, at that point in time. And, you know, right now I got a wife and kids, you know, so my creative process is always changing. You know, now I got to find time between work and raising children and being a good husband, you know, and work with my community, you know, to sit down and actually get in the headspace to create something I think is working right now. You know what I mean? So I'm a little bit slower now, but, you know, I'm finding those processes in the midst of it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're all a little bit slower right now, everybody. we got a couple kids ourselves, and so we totally understand that. And you're right. It's that finding time, because there's so many things that compete. It's still a beautiful stage to be in, but you know, they're very different, and you tend to value time a lot more now.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because the tension between, you know, that tension of having to schedule out time opposed to just like willy-nilly being able to do whatever. And I feel like I'm a little bit more intentional with it now. You know what I mean? Like, when I sit down to create, I'm sitting down because I know I got 2.5 hours to knock this out. You know, and I, you know, I'm thinking about it all day long. You know, I once heard a quote, KRS-One. He was going through the process in this video and talking to young MCs and telling them, you know, just as your body gets prepared to eat, you know what I'm saying, certain juices start flowing in your mouth, you know, your body prepares itself to eat. He said, as an MC, as an artist, the same thing should be happening. You know, like you sit down, you prepare your mind, you prepare, you know, your thoughts, you get your ideas together, and you really start, you know, you wrap your head and your everything around what you're about to create. And I think that now I have a better opportunity to do that. You know, at least I've found a better opportunity to do that with the situation and the time that I'm in, the season I'm in. So.
Wow, and talk a little bit about that, because you see, there's obviously a transition that took place there for us to go from Othello, you know, the poetic, bard that's out there just being creative and poetic, to being Ozay Moore. Like, what was the transition that took place there? Because that's a big thing to do, especially when you have such a following that has known you one way for so many years.
Yeah, you know, that was, and just to be, you know, honest with y'all, that was more or less something that, you know, it was a gesture for me and my wife, you know, me and my family. I was talking a little earlier about how in the early stages of being married, you know, coming from, you know, riding this wave of Othello and, you know, running around touring and thinking that these opportunities would never come to an end. Like, you know, you get an advance for a record, you think that money will just continue to come, and like, oh, we'll do another record and they'll give me another advance. And, you know, just this kind of, you know, not an arrogance, but just a real immaturity as to not understanding, you know, the ebb and flow of life at that point in time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, my wife and I, we'd be on tour, you know, completely like financially unstable, but having a blast. You know what I mean? Like, and so we're meeting new people, and we're playing seeds, and we're being ministered to while we're out and ministering. So it's a reciprocated, like, you know, energy going on where we're sharing, you know, what the Lord's doing with us, and folks are sharing what's happening with them, and we're getting a chance to see that in various different cities and countries, you know, and but still come home and have to deal with the reality of being at home and having consistent money come in, and, you know, thinking about the future and thinking about children. And so, you know, I wrestled with that for a long time, and it dawned on me when I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, yo, you remember this one time? And when I bring it up, it's kind of bittersweet, you know, and in my mind, I'm thinking it's all sweet. Like, oh man, this is sweet. She's like, yeah, that was cool, but man, it was rough. And you only think you really understand how rough it was on me, you know? And at that point in time, I was like, you know, if I want to continue to make music, and I don't want music to be a bad word, or hip hop to be a bad word in my household, or music ministry to be a bad idea or concept in my household. I needed to make kind of a clean slate. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start fresh. I'm 30. At that time, I was 30. And so I decided, I was like, I think this would be a good time for a name change. Not to mention, I want to be more intentional with my, with my marketing. Every time you type in Othello, you're fighting with Shakespeare, and you can't win against that. You know what I mean? So, but I'm the only Ozay Moore out there. It's Ozaymoore, and I'm the only one. And so that was intentional, and it's, kind of lends itself to, if I ever stop rapping and pick up a saxophone, Ozay Moore could be a, a jazz player. He could be an artist. It's like, it's just a little bit more than, hip hop, and a little bit beyond just, Shakespeare references. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Totally feeling that. I think that's, is that your government name, Ozay Moore?
That is not my government name.
I was wondering.
That's not my government name. My government name, if you want to know it, I can share it with y'all, classified, but if you look in credits or whatever, you find that anyway. But my real name is Tyson. That's my real name. Nice.
See, that was a Club Light exclusive, y'all. You heard it first. You heard it here first.
I don't think I ever said that on the radio before, ever. But shoot, that's good. What am I going to do? Walk around here, act like rap. I got rap name. That's all I go by. Tyson is my real name. If you call me Tyson, I will respond.
Tyson, no 50, right?
Right.
No 50. No.
Tyson, no 50, bro. For real, this is cool. Okay, right now we're gonna go ahead and cut to some music. Y'all gonna hear some Ozay Moore music right now here on Club Light. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Hey, what's up? You are now rocking with the Blast, and this is Ozay Moore with Club Light Radio. Stay tuned.
On your mark, get set, here comes the drum. On your name at 150 tons. Had they on the kick with a snare like a gun. Blowing through the speakers like we're tearing up the subs. Bringing in the walls of the bar of the club. 88's back for the night, show your love. You know who the baddest is, sucker show nothing. He got that glow like the Pope showed up. Yeah, we on a mission, let the rhythm hit in the full force. Figure just put them down and get these beginners something to take no spit. Show what we have going up and out of old spit. Give it to them like somebody throw some water on them. Sweat dripping, getting hotter than a sauna on them. All knobs clockwise, pumping up the volume on them. Make it sound like we got the beat forming on them. From the beat of the Swiss Alps and back, we clip notes kick so flat, make it crack on the mouth with the throw blaze. A major pain faded on the latest when the airways play big. Here we go. I support one stereo. The blow rock your radio. Blow it out. The O gon' make you get back. 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 It's like a jack of all trades, a master to balance a back and forth play. Rap is an act where my passion won't fade, and my passport's giving me access to more places. Max wrist till your hat splits in more ways. The cash pay the time as the truth to make change. A pack hit in a pocket jacket, I'm a blaze, I'm a raise, a short track. The accurate arrangements to make you take a break from the fake inflatable paper chase, accumulating days spit on the race for papes and laces. Dates on them embrace at the end of your lifetime wasted. Break the chains and take the brains. My faith remains in the grace of God's and His basic. Heaven's awaiting. I'm going out with a bang, going out of the frame like a shot from close range. Yeah. Here we go. I support one stereo. The blow rock your radio. Blow it out. The O gon' make you get back. 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 But it will go. And it will go. It will go.
Club Light Radio, once again, DJ George and Nicole, and we also have with us today on Table Talk Mr. Bigfoot Mike, because Bigfoot Mike never wants to be heard on the mic. I don't know why, but he's here with me today. Yes, we have time. And we also have, of course, our special guest today, Ozay Moore, back here with us for the second half. So glad to have him. And we're telling you, if you haven't heard this conversation prior to this, get back online at clublightradio.com. Go to the Table Talk page and listen to this interview, because we're just having a blast, and we had special exclusive Club Light information that you'll only know if you listen to the broadcast. So that's what's up. So as he just had a good night of sushi with his little man, and so I would just want to let him talk to you. Hey, what's going on, Ozay?
What up, though? Chilling. How y'all feeling?
Yeah. So go ahead. So here's something. You've been around a long time. So I love asking those who have the experience. How do you see Christian hip hop right now? When you look through your eyes, what do you see? What do you see that's positive? What do you see that needs improvement? What are you seeing and what are you recommending at this point in time? Because your perspective is definitely valued here.
Yeah. First of all, I'm excited. I'm excited at all the attention that artists are getting, from both sides. You know what I mean? I think that was always a struggle as an artist, as a Christian artist. You wanted to play for more than choir. You know what I'm saying? You want to speak to more than the choir, and I think it was either you went extreme one way or extreme the other way. A lot of times, if you tried to find the balance, it usually didn't hit the target you wanted anyway. You know what I mean? So for the most part, it's amazing to see folks like, Andy Mayo and Lecrae and so on and so forth, folks in that vein, get the accolade they deserve or get the attention they deserve, in terms of like just at a skill level. I mean, these guys are killing it, you know what I mean? Like they're incredibly gifted at what they do and they're unashamed, you know what I mean? So, and at the same time, that's not and they're approaching their content. The content is relatable to just your everyday folk. Folks who don't go to church, they can listen to the Lecrae song or Andy Mineo song and appreciate the perspective, whereas they might not, 100% agree. Who agrees with everything that's ever said on record anyway? But I think that's becoming more or less a common thought. Like, I might not agree with him spiritually, but I can't deny this guy's dope, and he's saying some really real stuff right now. So I appreciate that. And I like the fact that there's more genre bending. I don't even want to say genre because I'm a hip hop purist, right? So genre bending is kind of taboo. No, I appreciate. I like expansion. But what I mean to say is, I think some of those cultural boundaries are being alleviated. You know what I'm saying? Where yes, we are in it and not of it, but at the same time, we're finding our way in it a little bit better and a little bit more graceful. You feel me? And I'm seeing artists do that really well and without compromising who they are and what they're about, and they're able to tap into other markets and be heard. And who knows? I don't know, what the statistics are in terms of how the fruit's being received and what the numbers are of people having transformative moments with it. Well, at the same time, it's a beautiful thing when you see people giving love to folks who are 100. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Word. And I have to appreciate that because definitely there was a time where if you were like you said, if you were 100, you weren't necessarily being heard unless you were traveling to every single church. And you had to bring your stuff to every single church, walk in the door with your stuff, and that's the only way that they heard you, because there was really no place to be heard unless you were super duper mainstream. So you're right. There are so many different avenues and outlets that we have now, and exposure on both sides, which is fantastic, because that's where we want to be, is out there getting them at the same time. So, but do you find that there are any trends right now that are particularly, just a little bit shaky or frightening to you at this time that you wish people would kind of scroll back on?
I mean, from a spiritual perspective or just from like an art perspective?
You know what? I'm just going to let you speak on that, because I think some of it will probably come together.
Spiritually it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has to give an account for their own walk, and I remember folks used to tell the tunnel rap, you know what I'm saying, super OGs, they used to tell them what they were doing was ungodly, like even making music or doing hip-hop in the church. But at one point in time, if you just look at, face value, what somebody's doing, and try to gauge their spiritual, stance or where they are with the Lord off of that, it's just unnecessary to be doing all that. So I can't speak spiritually because I don't know everybody, But what I can say is I run a hip hop academy in Lansing, and so I spend a lot of time working with youth and hearing what they're into and what they're about. And I think as elders, as in terms of hip hop culture, in terms of the cultural aspect of what we're doing, I think it's important that we're a little bit more intentional about passing down you know, what it is we know about this culture. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be mad at the youth for not knowing who such and such and so-and-so is if we ain't teaching them. And we can't be mad at them not knowing, you know, about the architects of this culture and knowing about some of the movements that have happened throughout this culture and how it's impacted various different lives. And even knowing that there's more than just rapping a part of this culture. You know what I mean? You can't be mad at them about that because if we're not passing that down, because just as, you know, if I was Puerto Rican, right, and I have a Puerto Rican heritage, which I'm not, but if I were, and I wanted to pass that down to my children, I would be intentional about it with the culture. I pass down the language, I pass down the dance, I pass down the food and the, you know, the various different things that make that culture what it is, make me who I am. As a participant in the hip-hop culture, you know, I think it's important that we approach it the same way. Like, we need to be teaching them about the culture, teaching them how to use it, and especially as believers, I think it's a powerful thing for them to wrap their heads around the culture being bigger than just one discipline, you know, and because what it does is it automatically, you know, brings in a sense of we opposed to I. You know, we are in a super hyper individualistic society, and we're very good at compartmentalizing and sanctioning things off from, you know, each other. And so when you start talking about the four elements of hip hop and the hip hop culture, it automatically makes it so much bigger than just me and I. And to see that you're part of a culture and a community, I think it's helpful in terms of being able to process that you have a role in that and you have a place in that. You know, so that, I mean, that's my biggest thing. You know, like, again, I'm a hip hop head. You know, I'm a purist. Right. But I think it's important that we do a better job where we are intentional. If you love the culture, I think it's important that we pass it down. Stop griping at these kids for not knowing if we ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
Wow, you're saying something really powerful that I don't think I've heard so many people really talk about since we've been doing this. And you're right about this idea of being really generative and passing it down. You know, that we, even though we might not be old people, that we are still older when it comes to, we are like the older generation when it comes to where hip hop is, you know, age and stage wise. And so if you're looking at the fact that we are not intentional in passing it down, we're doing a disservice. We're actually completely destroying the culture. And unfortunately, especially when it comes to, I guess, Christian hip hop and just hip hop in general, that the line has been drawn in the sand so long that instead of we haven't really figured out that instead of maybe attacking that side, that we need to let them know where we are here so that we're accessible. And I think Cross Movement kind of picked that up a long time ago when I want to say it was Bill said a long time ago. He is like, hey, you know, we're the medicine aisle. We're not separate from the culture. We just, you know, you go shopping at the grocery store, and if you want to get fruits and vegetables, you go here. You want to get this, you go here. You need medicine, you go here. And we're the medicine aisle, you know. And so we're still a part of the supermarket, but this is where you go to get this, you know. And it sounds like that's a lot of what you're doing over there in at your academy. Tell us more about that, because this is news. I like it.
Yeah, so I was doing a residency in Southwest Detroit, you know, working with some English teachers there at a school called Clifford Academy. And at that point, and there's been some other, like, you know, hip-hop ed type stuff, but at that point I fell in love with the idea of being able to leverage what I know how to do in a more academic setting. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so I was working with you know, like I said, English and social studies teachers, and finding those parallels, the intersections where, you know, traditional academics and academia kind of merge and cross with hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? So MCing, social studies, English, vocabulary building, you know, social commentary, etc. That pairs very well in the classroom if it's done right. You know, b-boying, science and math, you know what I'm saying? Centrifugal force, steps, adding, subtraction, multiplication, all that stuff. You know, it just works really well together beyond what a lot of people give it credit for. Mm-hmm. And so as I start wrapping my head around this, you know, I mean, we're in these classes and all, you know, there's a academic side of it, but there's also this fun aspect where when you come across a kid who has a ton of talent, but really has no mentors or outlets or positive outlets, you know what I'm saying? You're like, dang, I wish I just had a little bit more time with that kid because he's actually dope, or he can be dope, you know? And so I was doing that in Detroit, but I was living in Lansing, and so I ended up, you know, coming back to my city and starting this initiative, getting with some local artists and saying, hey, let's start this hip-hop academy where we actually, as elders, pass down the disciplines of the culture. So b-boying, MCing, graffiti art, DJing. You know, we have classes and instructors for all of these, right? And so it ends up being essentially a mentor program, leveraging the culture to work with youth and help them to aspire towards something in their craft and learn from us, and we teach them what we know, and at the same time we're finding those intersections for opportunities of mentoring and for the gospel and for the classroom. You know what I'm saying? So it's called all of the above, and essentially, yeah, it's all of the above. Everything I just said, that's what we're doing.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you.
But yeah, Ozay Moore, you can go to, you know, facebook.com/go Ozay Moore, the GOOZAYMOORE. That's my artist page, or just Ozay Moore. I'm the only one. If you Google Ozay Moore, everything of mine will show up because I'm the only guy.
That's the way to do it, bro.
You know, if you want to know more about the Hip Hop Academy, it's AOTA hiphop.org. It's AOTA hiphop.org. You can find out all about our classes, all about our instructors. Salim Palms, my brother-in-law now, he's also one of the instructors. He lives in Lansing with me.
Are you kidding? He's your brother-in-law?
Yeah. So, funny story. I know we don't have time for it now, but we'll hit it up in another interview at some point in time. But yeah, we are brothers-in-law, and we both live in Lansing, Michigan. He's from LA, he's from Seattle. We're married to the same family, so it's like married, like your best friend becomes your brother, and so that's what's going on.
Good grief. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to talk offline. But yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead, Ozay Moore.
More of this.
Yeah. Ozay Moore, all things Ozay Moore. Google that.
Bandcamp, he's on
SoundCloud, Facebook, Mellow Orange. Get at it, folks. We're gonna have to have him back. That's the bottom line. So, you know, Ozay Moore, I'm telling you, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, Mr. White, for stepping into Table Talk for one time in this year. And again, this is DJ Georgia Nicole again, and thank you all. Don't forget to keep it locked, and we'll see you in a minute.